Hey guys and gals, let's have a look at the Deep Sea Explorer Submarine by LEGO City. This is set number 60379. Contains 845 bricks, retails for $109.99, and this set was provided to you by the LEGO Group for early review. And I don't know, I'm not filling this set. I not really much into submarines, but got some claws here to grab stuff, and divers, and the jellyfish, I think that's what it's called, and some kind of underwater mech thing that you wear, and not too bad. And oh, it looks like we get more inside the submarine, huh? So maybe this might be something to build. It just looks small on the box, and looks like we've seen her before in a few sets. And the boat with sharks that are affixed to it. Well, it's not too bad, but what does this look like in person? Well, we'll just have to have a look. Let's start off with our minifigures. We have 6 in total. So off to the left we have 3 divers, and their torsos are printed. And these 2 have torches. This one has a metal detector, and this one has a camera. And this gentleman here looks like some med student. I don't know, he looks pretty scruffy looking. And we got this gal here, got the life vests on, and we got Miss Undercut. She's got a nice print work for a torso and a wrench. She's obviously the mechanic. And let's take a look at the back here, and the torsos are printed on the back as well. And yeah, not too bad for the graphics for the torso, so it does work good with this theme. Well, let's start by looking at our underwater mech, and this is the only piece on it that's printed, and this is pretty much what it is. And I'm not sure what the steering wheel is for. I think it's meant to attach to something. Not quite sure. I'm not really into underwater mech stuff, but well, hands move. It's got wrenches. It's meant to fix things. It can walk and flex. But this thing is a bit top heavy, so you got to make it slouch a little bit for it to stay up. And this does open up, and this does fold down. And it is scaled for minifigures, sort of. So I'm going to stick Miss Undercut in there. We're going to place her right in there. And then we're going to close this up and close it down. And pretty much when you close this top down, she starts slouching. So I don't know if she's meant to stand in there or sit, but you know, maybe she's using this to fix the submarine that we're going to be visiting. But for the most part, it's not a bad idea. It just, I don't know, I'm just not feeling this one. The next part to explore is the little sunken ship area. And you can see we have a lot of foliage. We have one of these jellyfish that fell over. So a lot of this little stuff here can fall off. Then we got ourselves a little hidden area in here with some treasure. And we got a skeleton here. It looks like he's passed out from he's been down there for millions of years. We got a little treasure chest with 2 gold ingots. Well, really not a whole lot in there for treasure. And that's pretty much what this is. Now, these fish do glow in the dark. I don't have my black lights. I can't demonstrate that. But the shark does shoot out. So this is what he does. You just push from behind here and he does come out. Now, you want to be careful with this. Sometimes he'll fly off that 2x4 plate. So we can get some divers here, and then we can just do this. And they get too close, you know, let's demonstrate this here for fun. See how he just came off that? That's probably the only downfall with this thing here. So if the divers don't get injured, the shark will. So they could swim in here like this, and the shark will just shoot out at them. That's if it wants to work. But you know, I got the metal detectors and stuff like that. So I do see some play with this. This looks pretty good for what it is. And this part here on top does turn about. So the sharks are going to stay in a circle, so these guys can just sit here and swim underneath and stuff. But yeah, not too bad for this little build. And finally, we have the submarine. And this doesn't look like this would belong in the Lego City theme. Looks more like something as a mock than anything else. And, well, a lot of stuff going on here. And I'm just doing my usual 360 tour. And we're going to start with the sides here. And this is pretty beefy. We also got this little hook that comes down. I'll show you what that does here. And let's take a look at the rear. You got some containers in the back you can store stuff in, maybe some tools. And looks like we got some fuel cells in the back. You got your thrusters. Looks pretty cool. And the patterns do continue on to the other side. So it's not too bad of a build. Here's the front right here, and this does open up. I think that's all the controls you get near it. I don't know. And it closes up nice. And we got these little grabbers in here. Kind of looks like a lobster or something. I don't know. And you can just do that. And it just held with the rubber bands. But you got to be careful with these. These may snap off and break and may injure someone. Now, the top of this does open up here. And we got the controls and stuff. But this does open up. And we'll take a look at this side here in a bit. But we're going to take a look at this. And this just slides out. This is just a little type of little camera thing. It's meant to go around and take pictures and stuff. And that's what this here is for. So you can actually hook this on to the bottom here. See if I can do that. Not too bad. Now, I don't think a lot of people are going to be playing around with that. I don't think that's going to be a heavily used item, but this looks cool nonetheless. And that's how it fits in there. There's plenty of space in there. So you can just set this right back down in there. It snaps right in place. And then you close the top. Now, this piece here does come off. And just open that up, and then you just pop that off there, and that's just what it is. Like a fuselage from a plane. And as you can see, there's two seats in there. We got one here and one here, and yeah, my apologies for the crude lighting. And we do have controls and some screens. Sadly, this one has got a sticker on it. And yeah, I was wondering what these little windows were for. I think it's just to see this right here. And just to kind of demonstrate this, let's put our medic in there. We'll pop that syringe out of his hand. And then have him sit down. Boy, your hair looks just as bad as mine right now. We'll set him right in there. And there he fits right in there. And you could sit one right next to him. Let's grab this gal here with the life vest. She's going to wear the life jacket. You know, she's in a submarine. It's not going to do her any good in there. So we'll just set her right in here. Now, she has a hard time. Oh, because she's got the long hair. So she doesn't quite fit in the seat. Okay. Hey, you got to love my reviews. They're raw. I don't filter these. I just do it as if somebody was new and playing around with this for the first time. So I have her sitting there, and let's see, can she reach the handlebars? No. We'll pretend that she can, so she can, you know, control it and stuff. And honestly, the interior of this is okay for what it is. Some of the stuff, like I said, these right here, you know, they're printed, but for the most part, the designers spent a lot of time here, but here is kind of left to be desired of, but still, you can put this back on and just snaps in place. And honestly, that's not bad. Now, obviously, this doesn't float. It probably would sink, which would be okay, but I don't think I want to put this in a pool. But It's pretty sturdy. That right there is a sticker. And you pick this thing up. The best thing it is to kind of pick it up from here. Don't try to pick it up from here, because these are just held in on the sides by studs, and you don't want that thing to come flying off and this thing comes crashing to the ground. And there's also plenty of areas here that minifigures can grab onto, so you can have one of these guys here hold on to this. Well, provided I can get his hand in there. And if he doesn't get sucked into the engines, he can take pictures as they're flying around or sailing around or swimming around underwater. I'm not a boatsman or anybody that does submarines. I don't know what that term is called, but you know, despite what this is, and like I said, when I did the initial unboxing, I just wasn't too sure, but now building this, I have second thoughts on this. It's a nice build for just being a Lego City set in a submarine, you know. But I'll save my thoughts for the review. But the lights do move around, and the hands are flexible, or the grabbing arms. These, and it's just cool looking. This is really a nice submarine. Just for it being a Lego City set, I'm pretty impressed with this one. Let's start with my build experience for the review, and despite of my opinions on the bricks and the color palette of the set in the unboxing, the set wasn't bad to build. I actually enjoyed putting it together. It was pretty fun, especially with the shark and the submarine. So whoever gets this set is really going to have a really good time building this. It's not something that's going to be lame or boring. Now, as for build quality, for the most part, it's pretty sound. I did have a few things flake off. Like sometimes this shark feels a bit stiff, and sliding this in and out, it just feels like sometimes he's going to fly off that 2x4 plate in there, and I've had it happen a few times. And putting these rubber bands on the little grippers, I don't know, I just feel like the bands are going to break. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. Even the stickers weren't really that bad. Just one of them I had to fight a little bit. I guess that's to be expected. Now, for city drop-in value, you really could. You could drop this in a city, maybe have it parked somewhere, and or if you have an underwater theme, it should work. But this right here, as we saw, this doesn't have a back, but I'm sure somebody can get pretty creative and actually fit this in with a underwater theme. As for mocks, there's some building strategies you could grab out of this for other mocks, maybe even the jellyfish, or maybe improve the submarine a little bit. So there's a lot of potential with this build, which we're going to cover play experience or playability, and this set is fully playable. I mean, there's lots of things you can do here. In addition to having the 6 minifigures, the submarine's fully playable. You got this underwater mech, and then this thing here that shoots the shark out so you can get scared, and that's what I'm saying, he'll fall off sometimes. And putting him back on is, well, that doesn't work too well. That's the only issue that I have with it, but it's a cool idea. But there is potential, though, for a lot of play in this set. Lots of imaginative play would be pretty cool with this build. Now, for my summation of thoughts on this set, it's all around pretty good, so I would give it a score of probably about 8.5 to a 9. I'm kind of still on the fence on the score, but for the most part, it's pretty decent. Now, for the price of $109.99, I mean, do I think it's worth it for 845 bricks? You know, you get some medium pieces, you get a few large, a lot of small parts, but you also get the 6 minifigures, you get 3 shark figures, fish glow in the dark, and so I have to leave that up to your judgment. So that's why I never include the price and the score of the build. It's just not really related to the build experience or anything like that. All in all, do I recommend the set if you're into the underwater theme? Yes. If you're into mostly city or landscaping, this one doesn't really float the boat. Technically, you know, I got a sunken boat here with a shark, but for me, it was an all-around enjoyable build. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is it broken down for family build. This is isolated from this, which is isolated from this. You know, everything here is pretty much self-contained, but it is, for the most part, a family build. It just depends on how you break the build down. So you have to read ahead and figure out who's going to build what. So that's probably why I have it graded at an 8.5 to a 9, because it can be broken down. But I want to know what you guys and gals think of the set. Like I said, for me, it was okay. It wasn't a bad build at all.